Hello. This is the Bible in fewer words. We are Carol and Steve Wells. This is episode 233. Matthew, chapters 1 and 2. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Carol.
This is a breaking point. We've just completed the Old Testament. We're starting the New Testament.
Yeah, we don't really know how this is going to go.
No.
We want to move along as quickly as possible, so I won't be able to give a lot of information about each of the Gospels as we go through them and making comparisons between them and all of that, but I will try to do that in the notes.
Okay. And where are the notes?
The notes are on the website, theskepticsannotatedbible.com, and you'll see a link to the podcast. The most current one is shown. And then below, on the same page, will be notes about the episode that we didn't have time to talk about that might clarify a few things.
Or not.
It might not either.
I don't know much about the New Testament. I know I should know more. The 4 Gospels.
Yes.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
That's right.
Great.
Yeah.
And they're all telling the story of Jesus.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
But in different ways. The differences hopefully will be fairly apparent as we go through them. The Gospel of Matthew is anonymous. No one knows who wrote it.
Well, are all 4 of them anonymous?
Yeah, they are.
Okay. So names have just been attributed to them.
Matthew is a tax collector that we'll meet later. And someone thought it would be a good idea. Hey, let's say he wrote it. So they did. But there are no Bible scholars that think that it was written by the tax collector in Matthew. One reason they might have thought it, though, that I'm breaking all the rules just right here to start, is that since Matthew was a tax collector, it meant that he probably could write.
Oh, yeah.
Could read and write.
Numbers, anyway.
Yeah, whereas most of the followers and the disciples of Jesus himself may not have been all that literate. Very few were. They would have spoken Aramaic. So the Gospel of Matthew is written in Greek, and pretty good Greek. So they figure it has to be written by somebody who's educated. Maybe it's that tax collector, Matthew.
That guy.
Yeah. So he's going to show up in chapter 9 when we eventually get there.
Okay. All right. Chapter 1, verse 1. The book of the generation of Jesus Christ. The generation of Jesus Christ?
Yeah, well, it's a strange way to start. You wouldn't think that you'd start a book with a genealogy.
If we said we weren't going to do genealogies.
There's 2 places in the Bible it says to avoid and ignore genealogies.
Are we going to avoid and ignore this one?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
We're going to just point out that it's there, and it starts off with Abraham being the father of Isaac. Goes from there for 41 generations.
And we're not going to list those. Then.
We're not going to list those. And then it finally gets to Jacob, who is the father of Joseph.
Well, wait a second. Mary didn't have sex with Joseph.
That's right, exactly. Although we don't really know that at this point. But we'll find that out later. And everybody knows that Mary was a virgin, right?
Yes.
She conceived Jesus without Joseph's help.
Miraculously.
Yes.
What's the word Catholics use?
What you're thinking of is Immaculate Conception.
Oh.
That refers to Mary's conception, not Jesus'.
Oh, yeah. We've had this conversation
on
this podcast before.
Yeah, we went through a few rabbit holes there, I think. So.
Okay, so this really should be called.
But your point is good.
Yeah, this should be called the Book of the Generation of Mary.
No, it should not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Because we know who the mother is. We don't know who the father is.
Yes, that would be a very short genealogy. It would be Mary. Mary had Jesus, right?
And, we're trying to make fewer words here.
Yes, but this is a genealogy that goes all the way from Abraham to Jesus, right? Except for it doesn't go to Jesus. It goes to Joseph. What Matthew is doing here is he's trying to show that Jesus is a descendant of David.
Why is that important?
Oh, because it says in the Old Testament is that the Messiah will be a descendant of David.
So they're trying to fit a square in a circle.
They didn't have records of 42 generations. It wouldn't have been written down. It's not the genealogy of Jesus. It's the genealogy of Joseph.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense. He's trying to prove that Jesus is a descendant of David, but he's claiming that Joseph is a descendant of David. Which has no bearing at all on Jesus because Joseph had nothing to do with Jesus' birth, biologically anyway.
They're trying to trick us to believe their little story.
Oh, the Gospels are written so that you will believe in Jesus. That's the whole point to their writing. In order for you to believe that Jesus is the Messiah, I'm going to be calling him Matthew, the author of this. It's convenient.
Yeah.
Matthew has the burden here of showing that Jesus is the Messiah. It's kind of one of the main points of the Gospel of Matthew. He's got to show that he's a descendant of David. It's actually a genealogy of Joseph, not Jesus. So it kind of fails anyway. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to get into it. It's in the notes.
Okay, verse 18. When Mary was engaged to Joseph, she was impregnated by the Holy Ghost.
Yeah. Joseph decided to quietly put Mary away.
Is that like putting my dog down?
Yeah, I think it's like divorce her because she's pregnant and he knows he didn't do it.
Uh-huh. But an angel appeared to him in a dream saying, "Go ahead and marry her. The Holy Ghost impregnated her. She'll have a baby boy. Name him Jesus." Do you believe your dreams and act on them, Steve?
No. And I don't think anyone should.
Did.
Well, they definitely did. It was God's way of communicating. And he's going to do that in the first couple chapters of Matthew. The story is that an angel appeared to him in a dream. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All of this was done to fulfill the prophecy saying, "A virgin will conceive and have a son named Emmanuel."
Well, wait a second. One angel says, name him Jesus. Another guy says Emmanuel. Like, who is they supposed to listen to?
Yeah, no one ever called him Emmanuel.
No,
but
except in the Messiah.
And also in the book of Isaiah. This is a prophecy of Isaiah, chapter 7, verse 14.
Verse 24. When Joseph woke up from his sleep, he took Mary as his wife.
Next verse says, but he didn't have sex with her until Jesus was born.
Uh-huh.
Which kind of implies he did after.
Yeah. Chapter 2. Jesus was born in Bethlehem during the reign of Herod the Great. During this time, wise men from the east came, saying, "Where is the baby who will become the King of the Jews? We have seen his star in the east and have come to worship him." As I read those lines, I feel like I'm reading a fairy tale to children.
Yeah.
But no, I think I'm reading a fairy tale to adults.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to be breaking these rules all the time. But
all right, well, I'll cut you off.
Bethlehem is important. The
Yes.
reason Matthew has to get Jesus born in Bethlehem, it looks like here, according to his story, that's where they're living, is Bethlehem.
Oh.
They don't travel anywhere. They're just living there.
Okay.
He was born during the reign of Herod the Great. Now, Herod the Great is a real historical figure.
Oh.
That people know when he lived and when he died, and he died in 4 BCE.
Okay.
So that means that Jesus must have been born, according to the Gospel of Matthew, sometime before 4 BCE, because he's here.
And it's in reverse, right? So he could have been born like in 6 BCE, 5 BCE.
Right.
Or 4 BCE.
Yeah.
In the month before Herod
all
died.
All we know is sometime before Herod died.
Okay.
Because Herod's alive when he's talking to these guys.
These wise guys.
These wise guys, yeah.
All right. Well, that's interesting. But we're going to go on.
We are.
When Herod heard about the wise men, he asked the priests and scribes where Christ would be born.
They told him he would be born in Bethlehem of Judea, according to the prophet Micah. And he said in chapter 5, verse 2, that it would be Bethlehem. So
they had to fit that in.
Yeah. Verse 8, then he sent the wise men to Bethlehem, saying to them, "Go and find the child. When you have found him, tell me where he is so that I can come and worship him."
That lying git.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't want a king of the Jews because he thinks he is, right?
Yep. So verse 11. The wise men came to the house where they saw the child with Mary, his mother.
Yeah, so they're living in a house in Bethlehem, apparently.
No manger for them.
No. They entered the house, fell down and worshipped him, and presented gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
The wise men were warned in a dream not to return to Herod, so they left for their own country by another way.
Yeah, so another dream.
Yeah, they're disobeying Herod when he told them, "Come back to me and tell
That's
me
right.
where they are."
Uh-huh. I think they were kind of on to him.
Uh-huh.
After the wise men left, an angel of God appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, "Take the baby and his mother to Egypt, because Herod is going to try to kill him. I'll tell you when it's safe to come back." First of all, they're going to go to Egypt. That's a long way away. Bethlehem is only a few miles from Jerusalem. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's other towns that they could go to close by.
Yeah. Can't he just send his guys over to Bethlehem and say, "Go find this baby and bring him back to me," or kill him?
Oh, yeah, good point.
And
yeah, you're right. I hadn't thought about that.
Instead of killing all, he probably thinks they're going to go in hiding, so he's going to kill all the kids under 2 years old.
Oh, you're giving the story away here. We
Sorry,
haven't got
listeners.
there yet.
So Joseph took took the baby and his mother and left for Egypt and stayed there until Herod died.
This was to fulfill the prophecy saying, "Out of Egypt I have called my son." That's from Hosea. Hosea chapter 11, verse 1.
Ah.
The son here refers to Israel, and he's talking about, in Hosea, he's talking about the Jews coming from Egypt during the Exodus.
Mm-hmm. Way back at the beginning of the Bible.
He's definitely not talking about Jesus, but Matthew's making it all about Jesus.
See, it fits. It fits, is what he's saying.
Yeah, that's right.
So verse 16, when the wise men failed to return, Herod ordered the slaughter of all the children in and around Bethlehem from 2 years old and under. Verse 17, the killing of the infants in Bethlehem fulfilled the prophecy of Jeremy. Another prophecy fulfillment.
Yeah, it's actually Jeremiah, but it's called Jeremy in the King James.
Saying, in Ramah there was a voice of great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children.
Jeremiah is actually talking about Israel is weeping for her children who are going to be in captivity. That's what it's about, but he's making it about Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 19, when Herod died, an angel appeared to Joseph in a dream, telling him to take the child and his mother back to Israel. So another dream.
Yeah. So has God decided just to talk through dreams now?
He definitely does in the first part of Matthew. I know he really likes dreams. Remember with Joseph, he had all the dreams and
Interpret my
interpreting
dreams.
And God really likes dreams.
But it doesn't sound like there are dream interpreters here.
No, these dreams are very clear to the person who receives them.
Okay. Verse 22. Joseph heard that Archelaus reigned in Judea after his father's death.
This is a son of King Herod. His son's going to take over.
He was afraid to go there. God warned Joseph in another dream to go to Galilee instead.
Yeah, that's quite a change of plan because Galilee is about 90 miles north of Jerusalem and Bethlehem.
Joseph and his little family settled in Nazareth to fulfill the prophecy saying, he shall be called the Nazarene.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matthew, who obviously knew his Hebrew scriptures well, messed up because there is no such prophecy in the Old Testament. Nobody knows what he's talking about here, but people think it might be talking about the Nazarites.
Oh.
Although Jesus is never called a Nazarite. But remember the Nazarites?
People from Nazareth?
No.
No, then I don't remember.
Okay. Well, Samson was one.
Oh, long hair.
Men who don't cut their hair and don't drink wine and don't touch dead bodies. Those are Nazarites, yeah. But
right.
Jesus wasn't one, so it makes no sense.
Okay, well, we can't talk much longer because this episode has been pretty long already. So,
yeah, for
listeners, sure. I think the New Testament is going to be, what is it going to be, Steve?
Well, we don't know yet.
Oh,
we
that's
really
right.
don't know because this is a totally new experience. We kind of got into a routine with the Old Testament.
Yes.
We're going to have to develop one for the new, and I don't know where it's going.
Okay.
But we are going to try to continue to do it, hopefully.
In fewer words.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Steve, for all your work. And listeners, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.